Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome back to Toffee TV. Peter McPartland, Barry Cass. We're here to talk about the game against Arsenal. Tea time on Saturday. First of all, Baz, half-hour kickoffs. Discuss.
Horrible.
Not like them.
No, I don't. I think they're better than 4 o'clock on a Sunday or 1:30 on a Sunday. I think the 12:45 I don't mind on a Saturday, but 5:30 on a Saturday night.
See, you'll get loads of people going, I hate 12:45, but I like 5:30.
Yeah.
Go have a couple of bevies. Go the match. Go for a couple afterwards or whatever.
It's opinions, I suppose. If you're gonna start disrupting people, 5:30 on a Saturday night's probably the least kind of disruption.
And we've also got a lot of people watching in America who'll be loving it. But then we'll have a lot of people in Australia who'll be going mad. So
we've talked about this, and the 5:30 is kind of a precursor to 7:30 on a Saturday night, I think.
The 8 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock Saturday night.
I don't think it'll be that far away, to be honest with you.
Next TV deal, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
Look out for it.
If you can play 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, then someone will say, why can't you play 8 o'clock on a Saturday night?
You know what? There'll be a lot of people who'll go, I'll have that. Go to a match and then straight out.
Happens in Spain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the way we all are nowadays, a lot of us are having to work Saturday afternoons now, so it could suit a lot of people. Anyway, that's for another day. That's for another show.
Your original question, 5 Saturday? No.
Fair enough. First home game. So obviously, we're hoping to get that first home game bounce. Disappointing last week against Leicester. We've already talked about that. We're both very disappointed in that result. But I think what's good about this game is it's in your face. It's one of the top teams. They're in your face straight away. In fact, they're not just one of the top teams. They're one of the teams that we will likely be in competition for again for that top 4. Because, I mean, we all appreciate Arsenal, I think, but we all know that when it comes to March, they have a tendency to drop off. They're very quick coming out the box. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens on Saturday.
Definitely. I mean, it's the first home game. Can't wait. It's in some respects, it's a great game for Everton. Really. Last year we started with a 2-2 at Norwich again, very similar to Saturday, in fact. But and then came home against West Brom, and everyone was kind of saying, "Yeah, this is the guaranteed 3 points." And it was quite flat that day, and then obviously we drew. This one, Everton are going to have to be right at it from the first whistle. Arsenal, I think with Arsenal, people kind of have lost a bit of respect for them, but I don't know why, because out that top 4 every year, they're the only team that's been there for about 18 years on the run or something silly, that they always manage to get into that top 4. They always seem to not do enough to win the Premier League, but they're always do enough to get into them top places. So I think they're definitely one of our rivals for that top 4 place. Yes, they're probably more of a favourite than we are for it, but we're in direct competition with them. So it's a cracking game for Everton, and it'll be a very, very tough game, but I'm very confident.
Well, we look back to April time, and we had the run in obviously with Arsenal. We get them at Goodison Park. We beat them quite convincingly. They looked very, very weak. Again, the spine of the team at the time looked very, very weak, and they did have a lot of injuries. I'll give them that. They had a lot of injuries. The likes of Ramsey. I think he's their star man.
He came back that day, didn't he?
Wilshere, whatever you think of him, he was missing as well. They had a lot of players that missing, but it is the start of the season. They've got the players back now. They've got good new signings as well. He's finally had a chance to put his hand in his pocket, whether before he didn't want to for whatever reasons, but this season, certainly this pre-season, he looks like he's gone for it a little bit.
Scott, I think any Arsenal fan will tell you though they're probably still a centre forward, short, and I know Arsene Wenger was talking about them being a defensive midfielder, short as well. And isn't Alex Song available on a loan or something that they could take back? But look, Arsenal will be up there. They're a good side. Anyone who calls them, just because they haven't been able to get over the line in I wouldn't mind their record. Let's say that I wouldn't mind their record, but he has spent a little bit of money this summer. Alexis Sanchez, I think, will be a fantastic signing. He might not be quite what they expected, but he's going to be a very, very good player. From he bought the kid Chambers from Southampton.
He looks a player,
Looks a very, very good player. So bought some good players. I don't think he's finished in the market.
No, but he bought Debuchy as well to play right
And
back. I don't think he's the greatest player in the world, but I think that what they've done there is bought a player that they feel they can make a good player, or certainly play in the style they need to play. And as you mentioned, they are probably a centre forward away, but they seem to be building it up. They bought Ozil in last year, who was a star midfielder, and then this year obviously Alexis Sanchez is coming, who's going to give them a little bit more pace, a little bit more, be a bit more clinical in front of goal when you need it. And obviously, as I mentioned, Ramsey, for me, he's up there. He's a top player. He's always got a goal in him, from midfield. So I think they've got everything going for them in that respect. Now,
in my fantasy team as
well.
I
think you've been a lot of people's fantasy
Got me some
team.
points at the weekend.
Well, obviously the first game they played Crystal Palace, and they sneaked it 2-1. A very organised Crystal Palace, in a bit of disarray because the manager just left, but they're the games I suppose in years gone by they would have slipped up on, and this year they've gone there. And it's funny that they're scoring from set pieces as well, things like that. Arsenal now, which really we don't really associate them with.
Not for a number of years, not since the likes of Bold and Adams and that were there. They used to be fantastic in the dead balls then. Yeah, they won. A lot of teams want to get over the line on day one. We couldn't at Leicester, unfortunately, and Arsenal did. So already we're playing a little bit of catch up with them, aren't we? So that's what it's about. I think good sides get over the line, and Everton are a good side and have to learn how to get over the line in these games. So it was a big win for Arsenal at the weekend, and coming to Goodison, they'll be in. They'll be quietly confident they can get a result, but I think Everton will be looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that slightly worries me is that they've played a couple more competitive games. Okay, the Community Shield, whether you think it's a glorified friendly or whether you take it, treat it as a real trophy. They did play Manchester City. They did play on a big Wembley pitch. We always say big Wembley pitch. It's not actually bigger than anywhere else, but we just like to say that. But they've played a couple more competitive games. The game they played this week in the Champions League as well, having to go to Turkey and playing a hostile crowd and be well up for it. Yes, they drew 0-0, but that's a big 90 minutes in the bank for them, and that's just one little thing that worries me, that those players have got that extra game time.
Well, definitely, but when you look at it like that, they have played the extra game, so they may be a little bit sharper. But then again, you look at the tiredness issue, then it was a tough
Should
game.
anyone be tired at this time of year?
No, but it was a tough game for them at Besiktas, wasn't it? They drew 0-0, so obviously defensively they're quite solid. But we're sandwiched in the middle of probably arguably their two biggest games in the first couple of months. They've got to get over the line against Besiktas at home to get in that Champions League. I know Arsene Wenger said the money won't make a massive difference, but it does, and they're expecting to be in it.
It's not about the money as such, though, is it? But it is about being in the Champions League.
No one wants to drop out at this stage, do they? So therefore, they've had a decent result away from home, albeit they'd like to go. And Everton is kind of a big game for them that they know they've got to be up for it. I'm quite sure he would have liked Crystal Palace at home this weekend just to try and manage his play. So yeah, they might be a little bit sharper, but the other side of that is they may be a little bit tired as well, and Everton are hungry and ready to get at them.
And one thing that has come out of last night, looks like Mikel Arteta will miss the game conveniently at Goodison Park on Saturday. Picked up a little limp and walked off, poor little Mikey. So he'll be missing. And again, whatever you think about Mikel Arteta, that's a player who Arsene Wenger feels is a big part of his team so much that he made him the team captain. So that's going to be a big loss from their point of view.
Definitely, because he's involved in the way they play, isn't he? He's involved in their core formation, and he's going to be missing at the weekend. And obviously Jack Wilshere's out as well, and things like that. So they've got a couple of injury worries themselves. Obviously, we're missing Ross Barkley. But at Goodison, with the crowd and everything else, and Romelu Lukaku's first game since he signed and everything else, I think it's a game that is very, very good for Everton this weekend. I think it's a game that we'll be up. We won't need any motivating for. Arsenal, a nice football side, let you play. They'll come and have a go. They're not going to come and put 10 behind the ball. So it should be a very, very entertaining game. But like I said before, I'm quietly confident.
Well, we mentioned last week, or certainly in the video straight after the Leicester game, about the little bit of legginess in the players. We didn't think they were completely all fit. Now, this week, they've had another game behind closed doors, another bounce game. I think it was against Fleetwood. They won 5-0. Christian Atsu got on the score sheet, scored a couple of goals, and from your sources, your Jim White sources, tell us he had a great game and looked like he was in fantastic form.
Sources, pack it in, mate.
Brown and red.
Yeah, that's it. That's all there is. Yeah, according to reports and whispers and everything else that
Twitter
that comes, and Twitter and Fleetwood's players on Twitter and everything else, all kind of said the same thing, that he was very good. He looked very bright, very sharp. Okay, it's not the Premier League,
no,
but this is someone who we know's got bags of pace, good on the ball, scores goals, can create goals. So it's fantastic for us. I think the big thing with the game is obviously Morales got played the game,
and one of their players actually said that he was the best player that ever played against in his life, and he was world class. And so that means that he must have had a decent run out.
Decent, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how many world class players.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. No,
and he did say he was an Evertonian, but no. To be fair, for them to talk about it like that, then obviously he's looked good as well. We know how good Kevin is on his day. Seamus Coleman played, what game time, Darren Gibson, Leon Osman, Alcaraz,
Besic
played. So, all of that is positive because it gets them used to playing games again. And
we need that to play this week, because he can't play next week.
Yeah.
So it'll be like,
Well, you see, it throws up all kinds of things for this weekend, doesn't it? Does Stephen? I can't see him pulling Stephen Naismith out when he scored the goal, but then again, you don't know with Roberto. He might play him wide right. He might not play him at two. He might be sub this week. Osman might come in. Pienaar might start.
Well, if we go back to the last Arsenal game, he completely threw the book out the window for that game. Put Lukaku on the right. Played Naismith as the false number 9, basically to sit there and just get at Arteta, try and win the ball as high up the pitch as he could, and it worked wonders on the day. So he will do whatever's required for the game, and nothing's set in stone. We've said this all along. You can write down your best 11s all you want, but forget about that. We don't live in that world anymore. We live in the world of the group, and and the collective,
the squad.
So that's what you've got to get used to. And we look forward to Saturday. I mean, you don't think there's going to be many changes, but who do you think is going to be a real influence on the game from an Everton point of view?
I think the midfield. So I think McCarthy and Gareth Barry will be massive this weekend for Everton, because Arsenal are good in possession as well. It's we went to the King Power at the weekend and dominated the possession like we've done on most occasions last season. And I think against Arsenal they will want the ball as well. So this may be a 50-50 kind of game in terms of possession. So I think your midfield too have got to be right on it. I think Seamus Coleman will come straight back in at right back. I think John Stones, as fantastic as a defender, centre half he is, I think at right back, although he was okay at the weekend and got stretched and caught out a little bit, I think when Seamus is in there, Jags can forget about who's playing to the right of him and concentrate on his job.
Then all he has to worry about is who's on the left of him.
Who's on Sylvan will be alright this week, honestly. No, but to be fair, him and Distin have been very, very good, haven't they? So no worries about that. But like you say, the midfield too, and then it's Lukaku a week on. I think Morales. I just think Morales will start as well this week. So
instead of McGee.
I think McGee. Although McGee, see, this is the thing, isn't it? Normally with a manager or what we became used to was Naismith and McGee, they both scored, so they're guaranteed to start next week. Leon Osman, if you go back to last week, Leon Osman not starting was a mind blower because Ross Barkley was out.
Not getting on.
Under the previous regime, he was nailed on, wasn't he? So that's what I mean. You look now at the way Roberto looks at things, and I'm sitting here saying Morales will start and all that. Morales mightn't even get on. So who knows? But he may choose to stick Lukaku wide again on Monreal and put Naismith there again. He may not. He might swap them back over. Who knows what he'll do, but I think the two names who will be on that pitch, that's why I'm saying they're going to be the most important, will be obviously Gareth Barry and James McCarthy, because everything starts with them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think at this stage of the season, while players are still coming back from the World Cup, we keep on mentioning that, and about getting players fit, you have to, I suppose, play your best 11, your strongest 11 in terms of fitness at this time of year, and hope that you can get cameos out of the other players, and that would be massive this week if you did have Morales coming on with 25 minutes to go, if you did have an Atsu coming on with 15 minutes to go, if you needed to change the game. I mean, that really is the difference from years gone past, and even this time last year.
Definitely, and I think the thing is as well, because Chelsea comes the week after, which is another big game, but a totally different game. I think they're a bit steelier than Arsenal and have got different. So that the team that starts this weekend and might do very well won't necessarily be what starts the weekend after. So obviously the Atsu thing comes into play then, and you know, like I've said before, you know, Falcao and Cavani signed by them for us. Then who says Lukaku's going to start against Chelsea? You just don't know, but. You know, it's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting, and we needed this game. I think coming off the back of Leicester, it was frustrating. I think aspects of the performance were quite good, like we discussed. You know, in the last video, I think there was a lot of positives to take out of it. If we can iron out the negatives, you know, you mentioned Arsenal are decent off set pieces, and Everton were very poor off set pieces at the weekend. So this one, you know, is certainly one we're going to have to be tight at the back, but. I'm very, very confident. I think Everton will win this weekend.
And it's a sellout, which is fantastic. Goodison Park, rocking with those new floodlights. The HD floodlights. You like watching the match in real life.
What? I think the other, in all seriousness, you know, the sellout thing and everything else, it's on telly as well. So I think that always makes a big difference. Okay, it's a big game. Of course it is, and you know, against a rival side and everything else, but you know, it makes for it, doesn't it? 5:30 under the new floodlight. Will the players say this year? Nothing better than playing under Goodison under those new floodlights.
New floodlights.
It's changed
with
it
the
again.
Mosaic on the side of the ground. Happy day.
The Bobby mosaic.
Roberto's looking down on the crowd as they all walk up to the stadium,
just flocking into his dream. But no, I mean, I'm quite confident. What about you?
I wouldn't say I'm confident, but you know, I think. I don't know. I just it's
get off the fence.
I'm not. It's not about being on the fence. I'm on a nice stool. It's not about being on the fence. What it is I've said so many times that for me the first 3 games are almost like an anomaly this year because and then we'll see the real season start. But hopefully we get in this Saturday. We have a real go at them and you know. Hit them where they don't like it.
One thing I'll say: the first goal will be massive. I think if Everton can get ahead with the crowd, I think they might start thinking, here we go again, after what happened last year. Let's, you know, and we've got a game on Wednesday night, a big game and everything else. I think, and the crowd and everything with Everton, I think it's a confidence thing. We get ahead. Hopefully we'll stay ahead for longer than 75 seconds or something this week.
Hopefully, I mean, for me, I think the Everton back four are massive on Saturday. Not only about the way they defend, but also the way they come out with the ball and use it and don't waste it. Because if you give the ball away to Arsenal, sometimes you don't get it back until you're picking at the back of your net or goal kick or whatever. So that's really important for me. That they're all sharp, they're all up for it. And as you mentioned before, it's a totally different game from last week. And next week is almost like an amalgamation of both of them. A team that can go long and a team that can play football.
I think if we could beat Arsenal, the Chelsea game then becomes a game where we might protect it. It might. If we got a point out of that, we came out 5 out of 9, you'd look and go and tell you what a start that is. But the other thing that I want to say, which is massively important, and this was huge last season, and to me it was probably something that swung the game in Everton's favour, was the crowd. If you remember that Arsenal game last year, it was about puffing your chest out that day because we were just starting to pick up a bit of pace in that running, and we went there and the crowd, I'd say they absolutely terrified Arsenal for the first hour. They terrified them. You know,
don't get too comfy in your seat at half-5.
Don't enjoy those new floodlights. Just get in there.
Everyone will be like that, bacon in the
all warm.
Get putting the old tan lotion on.
No, but it's about making it hostile, and the fans, I think they do accept how important they are. But I think Saturday.
It's first game. We all know it's not. You know, we're not all gonna like slump into our seats. It's first game. Everyone's gonna be up for it. You know,
and Naismith will throw that tackle in, and that'll be
it.
The Phil Neville on Ronaldo tackle, won't it? We'll start it.
I think that's been renamed, the Naismith on Arteta.
But the Crab's not playing this weekend, is he? So we need a new one.
Find a substitute one.
Just go in there, Flamini.
Well, I tell you what.
That'll be a chess.
I tell you what would be a game that a match-up and a half would be Flamini against Besic. I'm not sure who them two would. Come off the pitch with stud marks all over the legs, but I don't think we're going to get to see too much of that, to be honest. I think it's going to be a footballing festival for all, with hopefully Everton coming out on top.
Yeah.
So you're fully confident?
I believe, I'm very confident for the weekend, I think.
I think we'll just sneak it, to be honest. I think we'll just sneak it. So that's all we want, isn't it? That's all we want.
3 points, it's all it's about, and then we go from there.
Don't forget, get your comments on the video on YouTube. Put your comments there, whether they're good or they're bad. We're not bothered. We want to know not only about our videos, but the games as well. Tell us what you think about the games. Get in touch with us on Twitter as well, at Toffee TV1. Get in touch on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Toffee TV. Our website,
ToffeeTV.net. Find us on there. There's fans blogging now and everything else on there, so get involved. All the videos are there as well, so keep paying us visits.
And just make sure you subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. YouTube.com/EFCTV1. Subscribe. Loads of you are watching, but we want the subscriptions up as well. If you could do that, it'll be really nice. Ped, Baz, we'll see you soon.